on a walk, morning walk, getting that morning sunlight. Sun's just popping up around 6 o'clock over here. And I'm going on a trip, heading out to Scotland and Ireland. And just want to give you guys some info on how I'm going to diet and how I'm going to negotiate that while I'm gone. Well, one of the things I'm going to do is this. I'll actually just track it on my phone. I'll track me steps. And I'll be getting in me steps. I'll probably go for 15K. So I do 15K every day. I'm not sure about how today will work because it'll be like in airports and stuff, but I'll probably get in a lot because I'll be in airports and stuff. So it should work out pretty good cruising around the airport. So I'm going to be walking a lot when I'm out there. Every morning I plan on getting in maybe a half an hour walk every morning. If it's by myself or with some family. I brought a poncho with me to handle the rain. So it should be good there. It's not going to be too cold or anything. Brought some good shoes. I got these guys. I like these a lot. These are, what the hell are these things called? It'll come to me in a minute. Oh, they're called Ultras. Ultra, yeah. I like these shoes quite a bit. Wide toe box and good grip and all that. But I forget what these are actually called. That's the brand. Yeah, just a lot of walking. I'm bringing a hip circle with me, so I'll do some hip circle exercises. Try to do those every day. My wife usually does Peloton workouts, so I'll probably join her. We don't have an actual Peloton bike or treadmill, but they have an app, and we'll do some body weight exercises. Probably do that most mornings. I don't always love doing those because it's kind of like my wife wakes up and just jumps right into them. I'm always like, oh my God. I would rather actually lift weights first thing in the morning than to do body weight exercises, but they're good for you and they feel good. So I should just commit to that. You know what I mean? Like if you have somebody in your family or you have a friend that likes to exercise, you should just commit. They say, hey, I work out, this day, and this day. And you should say, hey, you mind if I just tag along? Or I ride my bike on this day, this day, this day. Hey, you mind if I, tag along on that? Or somebody that runs multiple times a week or goes on walks. That kind of thing. Yeah, so I'll probably go to a gym at least twice. Gone for 12 days, so I'll probably go to the gym at least twice. I don't have to go to the gym, but that would be cool. I am going to bring a slingshot with me, so I'm going to be hammering push-ups. Obviously, I can do push-ups very well without a slingshot, but I like the way it feels with the slingshot. And I can do double the amount of reps, or close to it. I can get close to double the amount of reps. So I can do probably I don't know. Actually, it'd be interesting to try. Every minute I could do 50 push-ups. See how many reps I can get. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe try to get 500 reps or something a day or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. But that'll be a lot of push-ups and stuff like that. Or even 50 push-ups before every meal or something. It's a good glucose disposal agent. It's a good way to have that glucose going into the muscle tissues. And then as far as food goes, there's not going to really be a huge plan other than to get that walk in every morning fasted or just on a light coffee with something in it, something like that. Probably come back from the walks and probably hit up a hearty breakfast that's primarily fat and protein probably on most days. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But otherwise, I don't really care that much about breakfast, so I could grab some fruit, or some yogurt and just not really consume much on some days. And that'll probably be a strategy that I use. And then lunch, probably be something with the family. Dinner, probably same thing. We do have an Airbnb, so I'll be able to set up shop and cook just like normal, really. I'll try to film some of it, give you guys some insight. I don't want you guys to think that I'm some sort of maniac or anything. This is an evolution of just, some people might be like, why don't you just enjoy yourself? Why don't you just, well, I am going to enjoy myself. But I weighed 216 this morning, and when I come back, I don't want to weigh anything over 220. Something like that, you know what I mean? Or just weigh the same. There's really no reason to gain a lot of weight. And if I did gain a little bit of weight, who cares, Not a huge deal. But those of you that know, you understand, like 12 to 14 days of just doing whatever you want might not be a great idea, because it might set you backwards too much. And when I get back, I'm going to hit the ground running hard. I'm really excited. It'll be a nice little reset. I brought a lot of food with me. I mentioned it in another video. I got my meat bag, which is a bunch of carnivore crisps, along with, carnivore crisps is a little bit like jerky, crispy meat. And I have chicken breast, eye of round, and top sirloin. Those are all the leanest ones they have. They're all like fairly modest and low in fat, which is really nice. I'm bringing a bunch of Perillo bars with me. They're called Perillo Energy Bars. John Perillo was the guy that brought MCT oil to the forefront. So these bars have MCT oil, and they have maltodextrin. They got a carbohydrate source in there. So I thought that would be a great product to bring with me. 6 grams of fat. I wish I had about half of those grams of fat, but that'll be sufficient for this trip. That'll work just fine. Probably maybe have like one of those a day. I brought steak shakes with me. Steak shakes, and a lot of this is the whey protein. Mixed in a little bit of Total Carnivore. Total Carnivore has 7 grams of grass-fed beef tallow per serving. That's the Total Carnivore steak shake made by my company, Within You brand. And it just tastes so delicious, so I mixed some of that in as well. I am bringing fats back in. And not a lot of fat, but, trying to keep them under like maybe 30 and 40, or 30 and 50 on most days, I guess. While I'm traveling, I'm not going to even bother, because there's going to be some meals I have that are probably pretty fatty. But I'm going to do, smelly math, smelly science. I'm going to algorithm it when I have opportunities to eat something that's kind of lower in calories and higher in protein. I'll do that. When I have an opportunity to, let's say, go to a restaurant and have some vegetables, I'll do that, because the vegetables can help fill you up. They usually aren't accompanied by a lot of calories unless they're like cooked in oil. So at home, when I'm at the Airbnb, I can cook up some vegetables and utilize that a little bit as a strategy, as a filler, right? Vegetables, fruit. Fruit is fat-free opportunities. Fat-free opportunities to get in some good calories. I really love that as an option. I brought some like gummies with me. These like fruit chew gummies. I brought some Bear banana and Bear apples from this company called Bear, B-A-R-E. Almost like the same way as Nick Bear spells his last name. I like those a lot. I brought some Scandinavian swimmers from Trader Joe's, kind of like a Sour Patch Kid type of thing. And I was planning on buying some candy while I'm there, because that'll be fun to kind of see what kind of candy they have over there. Be interesting. Try to get in the grams of protein per day. Protein leverage, 200 grams or so a day. I mentioned I brought protein powder, so that'll be helpful. I can get 50 to 100 grams from there. Then it'll be a matter of finding 150 grams to 100 grams of protein. We can go upward too with the protein if need be. We can go to 250 or something if need be. Yeah, I'll be hammering protein. And then as far as carbohydrates, vegetables, fruit. I don't know, like they got potatoes over there for sure. So maybe I'll, depending on the situation, maybe I'll cook up a bunch of potatoes or something, because it'd be kind of cool. Cook up a bunch of potatoes at like the beginning of the week, and then just have those to kind of rely on for food with a meat source or something, a lean meat source, or even just a protein shake. It might not be a bad idea, something like that. Maybe some rice. We'll just kind of see. I don't know, what the store looks like, supermarket, so forth, grocery store. I will see if they have really low-fat yogurt. I know they have that kind of all over now, so that might be a really good idea. Low-fat yogurt. Maybe like a cottage cheese or something like that. And this is, ways that you guys can diet when you're on the road too. You can make decisions based off of what's in front of you, You could have a meal that's higher in fat, and you can just say, okay, well, this meal, because it's higher in fat, I'm not going to eat a bunch of carbs. Let's say you do go to a restaurant and they put bread on the table, but you know that you want to get the tomahawk or the ribeye or the ribs. Well, maybe just skip the bread, right? You skip some of the appetizers that have carbs in them. And don't forget shrimp, scallops. Some menus have like a tuna option for an appetizer, depending on the type of restaurant. You got shrimp and scallops, like a shrimp cocktail. All those things are like basically fat-free. It might be now the shrimp cocktail is literally fat-free. I mean, whatever tiny amount of fat comes from shrimp, not much. And the scallops would be similar, but they're probably cooked in something. So, but you know what? So what? So effing what? Not a huge deal, because what you're eating is so lean. A lot of restaurants have chicken breasts and stuff like that, but you don't have to make I guess my point in making this video is like, you're trying to be compromising. You're trying to just allow for it, allow for it to happen, allow for there to be some normalcy, but also don't fold up. There's no reason to fold up like an accordion. There's no reason to be a big giant wuss about this whole thing. You can still make progress. You could still kick some ass. That's what I'm really looking forward to doing, is when I get back, I want to kick more ass than I ever have before. In this vacation with my amazing wife, my 2 children, Jake and Quinn. Jake is 21. Quinn is 17. I don't have babies anymore. Both are leaving the home soon. Super sad. And I'm going with my brother-in-law Richard, my other brother-in-law Andy, my sister-in-law April, and their children. It's a little windy out here, so hopefully I didn't bring my little wind muffler thing. Hopefully I guess that you guys can hear me okay. And I got my nieces and nephews, and I'm excited about that. And then we also have my son's girlfriend with us, Paige, and she's just been absolutely wonderful. So looking forward to spending more time with everybody. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be lots of fun. I think we're staying like a castle. I got a dude out there who's going to show me some stone lifting, some of the tradition of stones and stuff. Really fired up and excited. And by the way, we do have membership here on YouTube. I'm not trying to hook anybody in or make you do something you don't want to do. But we're giving you early access to videos. I'm making more videos. I'm going to keep giving you guys insight. This one's on me. This one's for free. So this one will be on the regular YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm really just trying to create a community that just kicks ass. I'd love for this community to be one that is helpful. When people come into this community, they don't get their teeth kicked in, for asking a question. They get some answers instead, A big reason for the move too is just assholes. Just too many assholes. And also too many bots on the live stuff. It's just garbage. Bots and stupid comments, and it's just, look, man, I could tolerate a lot. I grew up with 2 older brothers. My skin is thicker than the skin on a rhinoceros. So I can handle all that stuff, and I have for decades. Or for a decade and a half, however long YouTube's been around for. Super Training 06. We started those videos basically almost in 05. And 04 even, on something called Put File, which doesn't exist anymore. Before YouTube was even around. And my YouTube channel dates back to early 2007, and I think the inception of YouTube was in 06. Didn't know about it until it was out for a little bit. So I've been around for a long time. Lots of videos. And check out those videos too. Just go back and scroll, the Super Training 06 channel or Super Training Gym channel. It might be called. We switched the name around a little bit here and there. Check out that channel. Check out the history of this channel. Check out me talking about, protein leveraging in the single digit body fat series. You guys should watch all the single digit body fat series. Go watch all of them. There's like 13 of them. And I resurrected it because I guess this could be part of the single digit body fat series right here, this video. I brought it back because I was on the right track with things I was saying. I was really talking a lot about protein leveraging and almost dropping out the other macronutrients altogether, which is not really the right track, but it can be the right track for leaning out very quickly. You wouldn't want to drop your carbohydrates too low, but you can tank the fats for a little bit. You could do these things in like spurts, where you could tank the fats every other day. You can go like 50 grams of fat or 30 grams of fat a day, and Monday, Wednesday, Friday, throw the fats in the basement and try to get to 10 or 15 or something. Again, that would be short term thing. You do that for maybe a month, okay? Maybe 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. But the problem can be if we mess with our body for too long, then we put our body in a bad, it's hard to get out of it. Trust me, from a guy that weighed 330 pounds, I compromised my metabolism and my health forever. I shortened my life by a long shot. Zero question. And I was pretty aware that blasting steroids and eating donuts is gonna, not have great consequences. But for some of you, you can circumvent that or think about it a little bit more. I didn't think about it much. I just went with it. I just wanted to be the best powerlifter. I didn't care. I cared a little bit, okay? Cared a little bit. But not enough. Not enough to stop me or slow me down. And you guys get a different chance than I did, I think. This is the way I like to look at it. Because there's more information now. There's more blood work, and there's more tests and exams, and more ways you can kind of make sure you're doing okay. But I'm here for you guys. That's why I've shot probably, man, if you count the podcasts, we're probably upwards over 3,000 videos. You go to Jim McD 1234, you go to this channel here, add that shit up. There's not a single person that's talked more than I have about the subject of fitness, probably in the history of the world. Or I'm right there with whoever, Jack LaLanne or whoever else. On camera, you know what I mean? On camera. Mike O'Hearn puts out kind of a lot of stuff. He puts out a lot and has been putting out a lot for a long time. It's been filmed kind of through the 90s and stuff, even when video was getting more popular. But yeah, there's nobody like me. There's just not. So much content is there. I encourage you to check it out, because I think it can provide some value and give you guys some basis of, and also help you with your decisions when you can end up having an algorithm in your head for your food. Remember that scene in Terminator when he's like scanning like people around him in his head, and he's scanning like, see if somebody has weapons and all that kind of stuff, and like kind of almost like making calculations. That's kind of what goes on in my head these days when I look at food, because I have information on keto, have information on many different styles of diet. I have information on eating carbohydrates by themselves. I have information on eating carbohydrates and protein together. I have information on eating protein and fats together. I have information on eating fats and carbs together. Like, it just goes, the list goes on. And then I can kind of, shift and mold into whatever needs to be done. For me, it's like, okay, if the fat goes way up, the carbs come down. And if the carbs are going to be way up, then the fats come down. So low carb, you could have a little bit more fat. Higher carb, it's better to have less fat. Pretty easy with that. And then the protein can be sort of stagnant if you want it to be. I suppose if you wanted to, you could go high, you could go lower protein occasionally too, like I did with the sugar diet. I felt pretty good. It worked pretty well. But I wouldn't go too low. I think half your body weight in protein is like maybe half your lean body mass is about as low as I would go after experimenting with it for a while. And I would still do some days, and I still will do some days coming up that won't have any protein in it at all, because I don't believe that you need it every day. Anyway, I'm grateful for those of you that have signed up. I'm grateful for those of you that haven't signed up for the subscription-based YouTube content that we're putting out. If you're not watching the Power Project, if you're not watching these videos, not watching what I'm doing, you ain't got no life. And if you are watching these, then you ain't got no life. Raise your hand if you ain't got no life. Multiply your hustle. Multiply your muscle. May all your shits be tapered. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Peace.